Gaming, Reiki, Jones, and Rad versus Jupiter King and TNT. If what we saw in the opening match was any indication, we are in for fireworks here in our second quarterfinal of the day.
You know, and this kind of goes and leans into the strategy that I was talking about at the very beginning of the show. And that's that if you can take that 2v2 set, if you are dominant in that 2v2 set, this is the type of team in TNT and Jupiter King that's like, all right, these two guys could maybe just win the whole match in 3.
Yeah, very, very possible. Of course, they are up against the #1 duo in CRL East from this fall 2020 split. As you said before, 9-3 overall in sets for this pair. They were certainly dominant, and of course, with that setting up their teammate Mugi to go completely nuts in the King of the Hill and the 1v1 alongside KK. Really dominant performance overall from Ponos, who was a squad that maybe struggled a bit in between their 2019 spring run and this last one here in 2020.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point that you point out there, just that Ponos did not seem like they were going to be this big of a threat coming into the fall season, and what they did was just, it was miraculous. I mean, you talk about a season record of 12-2, and that is really something to write home about. You see all those trophies on the table. That's no mistake here, and I got to imagine TNT and Jupiter King are going to have their work cut out for them against this great duo.
I think a lot of people didn't think Ponos was going to be that good until they signed Mugi. And once they added Mugi in, I mean, look, also picking up KK in the consolidation into CRL East from the Asia China turning to CRL East. So adding KK off of Game With was absolutely a huge addition. That last piece of Mugi suddenly turned them into an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about KK and you talk about us seeing him at WCG, I mean, he was kind of the superstar coming out of Asia at that time. The fact that he is now the second man on the team for Ponos in head-to-head is just incredible for their roster.
That's a really nutty way to put it, but yeah, KK, one of those guys who go back and especially with how good Game With was in that 2019 spring season before the World Cyber Games, to be the guy who's not the #1 head-to-head player on the team, that just tells you how good Mugi really is.
Yeah, that is absolutely incredible, the depth of both of these rosters. So here we go, Giant Skeleton, Royal Giant out on one side of the board, the other side looking maybe the same, could be a little bit different, but TNT and Jupiter King just kind of sitting back in this moment, feeling things out.
Yeah, taking a fair chunk of damage on the left-hand side, 1,800 remains. Giant Skeleton with the Fisherman on both sides, good protection though out of the Ponos duo.
Yeah, great skeletons up high, just, you know, very easy interaction for them to see coming from a mile away, and that's the kind of stuff you have to do if you want to be that good of a duo. TNT and Jupiter looking for it. Now we see Ponos getting on offense with a nice Graveyard and Heal Spirit. Yeah,
Graveyard, Heal Spirit, a ton of damage coming in. Tribe Gaming in a lot of trouble as we go into sudden death.
Then this is where that decision becomes a hard thing, a hard bullet to bite here, just because, you know, TNT and Jupiter may be great, but they just haven't had as much experience together in competitive play as both Mac and Azeles, and maybe some of those mistakes they made wouldn't have happened if it was the guys that have been playing together more regularly.
Well, still a lot left to be played, but at the moment, things looking dire for Tribe Gaming, although starting to stack up, and now it's a Graveyard Balloon push of their own in. Giant Skeleton tanking for both at the moment. Balloon will get onto the bomb tower. Fireball trying to make room. Tribe Gaming throwing it all down the pipe and not getting much out of it.
Yeah, spells went flying on both sides of the board, and I think that's the best way to put it. They poured everything they could into it and got very, very little out of it. Now they need to reset once again. Fisherman Skeleton's ready to go. Will they adjust? Yes, they get a late Fisherman in of their own. Pull that Giant Skeleton away. They will.
And the Lightning gets the Musketeer and Shaw on tower, so that's actually a very, very big Lightning for Tribe Gaming. Fisherman stays on just enough to move that Giant Skeleton. Oh no, it's going to stay in the path of that Balloon. Fisherman going full Benedict Arnold and stopping that Balloon push before it could get started.
And now you see this big counter push coming in from Ponos. This is going to be really difficult for Tribe to deal with. I don't think they're going to be able to. I think game one is going to go to Reiki and Rad. Very, very well played early on, and you see that celebration. That's why they're the best 2v2 duo